All right, welcome back. Wait, check us out, check us out. If you want to support the show, limited edition tees, hit me up on Instagram. Anyways, we have arrived at episode 11. This is a pretty big deal for us. This was a big inflection point where the cinematography was like really getting into a legitimate space. I feel like we're using all the big boy cameras, big boy lights, and getting some big guests on. We were out in Arizona for this Aries Tech trip. Shout out to Aries Tech for sending us out there. Use code JAELIN, JAELIN, if you want to buy anything from them. I think it's a 25 or 30% discount. Pretty big. So they sent us out there to film some content, do some stuff with them, and particularly film these brain scans, as I mentioned at the intro of the last podcast. And while out there doing that, we were able to get some pretty big guests out from Arizona to come on the podcast, which is a really big deal for us, and just is honestly amazing. Little breadcrumbs from the universe or whatever, kind of pulling us along and showing us, I guess, that we're headed in the right direction. I think it's really cool, and shout out to Kyle for making these connections happen. Shout out to Cameron Jacobs for co-producing these, being willing to just run and gun and be down and to do this stuff out there with me. I couldn't have done it without those guys. So today's guest is Troy Casey, the certified health nut, the one and only certified health nut. Troy is somebody that I've looked up to for a long time. I've been watching his stuff for years, and you know, a lot of people, he can be pretty jarring. He's pretty controversial. He gets pretty riled up, says some wild stuff, but honestly, that's why I love Troy so much. He is fully willing to be himself, and like doesn't care what the cost is, doesn't really care what people think about them. Obviously, he is a showman in his way of going about things, but he genuinely does not care and is willing to just be himself. I love that a lot, especially in the space of health and wellness. I think Troy represents just a totally different version of this stuff, which I was very drawn to. It's something that I really try to embody as a health coach myself. He's very out there, but honestly, it gives me more permission to do my thing. And not only that, not only is he a showman and very fun and entertaining, but he's also genuinely dedicated to helping humanity and saving the world. Like, getting to spend a couple days with him, doing the brain scans with Aries, doing the podcasts, just hanging out. He's the same dude on and off camera. He genuinely believes in what he's doing and really is incredibly well-read, well-researched, and well-practiced as a facilitator for people as well. So huge shout out to Troy. Love you, man, and thank you for coming on the pod. People, I hope you enjoy this. If you want to support the podcast in any way, we do have these. We just got them done after months and months of deliberation. They are really high quality shirts with the Cope logo. Should look familiar to you. We're selling a few of them just to be able to fund the podcast. These shoots are not cheap. Travel, getting guests out, renting lights, equipment, all the stuff. Building these sets on the go, it's not cheap. So we are going to try to start selling some stuff in order to not only spread awareness about what Cope is and give people stuff that they actually like and they want to wear every day and represent this beautiful community that we're building here, but also to bring some income to the show so that we can continue to bring you guys the best guests and do what it is that we're doing. So without further ado, here's Troy Casey, certified health nut. All right, let's get it. Troy Casey, Coping Mechanisms, episode what the fuck ever. This will be, dude. Welcome. Thank you, brother. Thank you for being out here. I appreciate you, man. It's a pleasure
really
to finally.
Good to see you. Always good to see my man Kyle.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, got the boys together out in Arizona, in your land, in the land of the desert. It's fucking strange coming out here, dude, from the East
Valley of the
Coast.
Sun, baby.
For real.
It's about to get hot in the hot tub.
Do you kick it the whole year out here in the 120 degree?
I mean, for the most part, I like to keep my life as simple as possible, and traveling with the TSA over the years has gotten really shitty, especially after COVID.
Yeah.
So I flew professionally and traveled as a model in the early 90s, late 80s. And so I traveled when there was no TSA. And so, you know,
You
I know
smoke on the plane.
Yes, you could smoke on the plane as well. That's correct. And so, yeah, it was a different world, but there was no TSA. And so, you know, 9/11 changed everything. And it was tolerable, even though I get all my supplements and everything out of the x-rays. I don't go through the backscatter, all that stuff, and would get my food, you know, everything would get hand searched. And so it was a bit of an arduous process. But after COVID, because I didn't fly during COVID, in fact, I missed my first flight in all of my professional career. I was teaching Qigong for Dave Asprey at his Bulletproof conference in Orlando. And I think it was early 2022 or late, or somewhere in 2022. So it was almost over. And, I didn't wear a mask for anything. And it was a good gig. So I put my ego aside and I drove from Sedona to Phoenix, and I got on. I'm usually the last person to get on the plane. And I had this little ski mask thing that I got. And I put it on, and the lady started going, no, it was a silk scarf. And I had a big ass beard too. And she just started going, and I go, what's the difference between the piece of cloth I'm wearing and the piece of cloth you're wearing? Sir, I'm not here to argue with you. And I was like, oh, fuck,
I think
man.
That's what she is there for.
Oh my God,
Yeah,
man.
it's kind of the role.
It was on, and I was like, and I got 4 hours to Orlando. I was like, this probably is not going to go very good. Actually, it was probably a blessing that I got kicked off the plane. Well, I ended up, arguing with her, and I don't argue very nice. And then I said something that was offensive to her. And then, the supervisors came out, and then I got into a fight with him. I thought we were going to go to blows. I was like, dude, they're coming after your fucking children and your grandchildren, motherfucker. And you're putting up with all this shit. Anyway, so that was Southwest. I was so pissed and ruffled. And I don't even think I got my money back from the flight. And like I said, that's my first time in like 30 plus years of travel that I missed a flight. And so that put a real bad taste in my mouth. And then TSA, just ever since then, they've been real dicks. And lo and behold, Trump, the second he got in, he fired the TSA chief. I think Tulsi Gabbard, who's a military vet, she was harassed as well.
Yeah, I heard that. It was a whole debacle.
Yeah, she had like an actual agent like following her. For
Yeah,
the past
yeah, she was getting
several years.
Yeah. It was a whole thing. I think she did a whole like write up about it. Really fascinating because she is like the best of them. I think in terms of like a politician, like I just see her and like just off a vibe. I don't know her policies or what she's trying to do or anything, but like she just seems grounded. She seems like an honest woman, and she actually did serve like proper. She got that white streak in her hair from being a trauma nurse, I believe, overseas, right?
Yeah.
Wild lady. And just to like fuck with that lady, it's like, dude, what are you guys doing?
Yeah, but this is the way the TSA went. You get marginalized people from society, and then they have all this power over you, and as soon as I started sharing my stories with other people, grown men, and they're like, yeah, it's fucked up. And I've talked to their supervisors, I've filed complaints. And so it's a real thing. And I just saw on Twitter last week that they have some type of union, but you can't unionize government workers or something. So Trump's put this all to rest. And I think the attorney general was on it, but something happened March 7th and then March 25th. I saw something on X, Twitter, where they basically have no more power and they got back to normal. Now, I haven't flown since, and I recently flew on JSX, which is a smaller airline, up to Utah, and there was no hassle.
Yeah.
You drive right in my town, Scottsdale, get on the little airport, little plane, go up to Utah, boom, there was nothing. Now, it's probably double in price, but at that point, I don't fucking care, right?
Yeah.
And so hopefully the TSA has come around. I've got TSA pre-check, but coming out of Denver and coming out of somewhere else recently, they're like, random. And I'm like, what the fuck does random mean? And they're like, oh, you got to get searched or something. And I was just like, and then they started pulling my hairs, right? Because I've been searched all the years. I get my supplements checked and everything. Yeah. And usually the guys that are checking you are usually homies from the hood, right? Especially at LAX. And they go, you got any sensitive areas? And I just look them right in the eyes. No, just my balls,
Just that package.
And so,
there.
don't fuck around, right?
Yeah.
And that switched in the last year. And they started like rubbing my hairs on my body and stuff like that. And and I'm like, dude, I'm wearing fucking thin cotton.
Yeah, like you don't need to get under my
one
dick. Like
layer of thin. What the fuck are you? That's what I asked the guy in Miami. This was like a month ago. Yeah. What the fuck are you looking for? Don't treat me like a fucking criminal,
dude.
Your chief already got fired, motherfucker. And they were already backpedaling a little bit. They were. The supervisor was being nice. They were being cool, and I got through. I guess people are just, fed up with it.
Yeah.
Ultimately, Ted Nugent's a friend of mine, and he sold 40 million records in the 70s. If you don't know who he is, but
If you don't,
Oh, yeah.
if you
He's
don't,
Ted Nugent.
people, look it up.
he's a rock and roller. He's amazing.
He's the man.
First Amendment guy.
Yeah,
He-
hardcore
he
like
doesn't-
regenerative agriculture guy too. He's deep.
Oh, he's the man.
man.
He's the man. And he doesn't fly commercial anymore. He has to fly private just because of the same thing. They treat you like a criminal. And
Yeah.
he doesn't put up with any of that
Creeping
shit.
totalitarianism. We just flew and it was weirdly chill. And I was talking to Cam about it. I was like, oh, it was like weirdly okay. Because just the way I look, I get searched always.
Which date?
Just now, 2 days ago, 3 days ago.
So
yeah,
March 25th
yeah,
is when I saw it blow up
Super
on
chill.
Twitter.
And I got like pulled aside, but I mean, it was light. Like there's no dick touching, so it was cool.
I got plenty of dick touching. Like they scanned me, they touched me,
You went
and
through the backscatter on top of it?
No,
I didn't go through the scanner, no. So
Right.
they were patting me down, and then they did like the swab, and an error came up,
yeah.
like some type of
bomb.
error, and they're like, just hold on a second, gotta get the supervisor. I'm like, okay.
Probably your knickknacks.
Yeah, I'm like, what does the error usually mean? Oh, there might be like some explosive material or something in your clothes. I'm like, this is all organic cotton, like, And he's like, I wouldn't worry about it. You're the third guy this morning. This is like 6:30 in the morning.
Yeah, it's like,
And-
what system are you guys running, dude?
I
Yeah.
started yelling at him one morning. We were late for a flight, and they decided to have people wrapped around the building. And this is Phoenix International Airport. I mean, it's a big airport. And they were wrapped around the building, and it was like a Monday morning, and we were going up to Utah, something simple. And we almost missed our flight, and we got into the line, and then they had these dogs, and I said, what the fuck are you guys looking for? Monday morning, you got this whole thing backed up around the whole building.
Yeah.
And they're like, they always say, well, sir, Amtrak works, or they start saying smart shit,
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
Totalitarian fucking
Well, dude.
chattel fucking, they're programming your mind to accept it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You look at the people that are like working it. I mean, 87% of people are metabolically dysfunctional. So you got some pre-diabetic fella. He's pretty fucking miserable. Probably hates his life. He's on some SSRIs, and he gets one opportunity to exert his power, dude. He's like, I'm gonna put it on you, dude. I'm big dog now, and you're like, dude, you're not.
Oh yeah,
You're
there's
not,
layers
bro.
of psychological
Yeah,
fuckery.
like
that's
you
going
are a
on there.
rent-a-cop, brother. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah.
Like, don't fucking dude. So can you like take us back a little bit, just for the people who like might not know who you are, what you do? What process do you go through to become a certified health nut? What has your journey been? Your Versace model. Bring us like just real lightly through the trajectory that got you to where you're at today.
Yeah, so I was sitting in Milan as a Versace model many years ago, late 80s, early 90s, and I was bloating. I had digestive issues, and I had asthma as a kid, and I didn't know really anything about nutrition. And my agents were like, "Oh, honey, you're fat, or you don't get to go to Vogue today, And I'm in Milan and doing my best, and to make a career for myself. And so I went down to the bookstore and bought some books on nutrition. Back to Eden was the first book I bought. Jethro Kloss, it's a family heirloom from the 1800s. Talked about herbalism and enemas and just really how to clean the body out, and how doctors back in the 1800s, they couldn't, help some people. And then they called Jethro Kloss, and he'd give them an enema and some herbal teas, and boom, they'd be back alive. And he wrote this extensive book, lots of herbs in there and natural food. And I was living in Italy, so the farmers markets were there, and I had never been to a farmers market. And I started buying fruits and vegetables and eating whole foods. And lo and behold, I started getting results. The toilet bowl looked better. My skin looked better. I did my first 10-day juice cleanse back in the early 90s. I started juicing. Whatever happened with my digestion when I was younger, and if you look at all the data that RFK has, I helped fund that 1986 ACT film that they did, and this was 2020, 2019. And I went to a private dinner that he had, and he showed all the Harvard and Yale data pointing to neither efficacy nor safety in any of these poison injections. And it basically maims people and makes you customers for life. Now, I've never really been one for the medical establishment and doctors. And, I historically, I just don't go to the doctors my whole life. I grew up on the street. I was on my own since I was 14 years old. And so I don't go to doctors. I don't take medical drugs. And so, I never got caught up in, take this for that, or, oh, you got gut problems, here, take this pill. They tried to put me on Ritalin when I was younger, and my mother said that even though I was hyperactive and intense, it made me into a zombie, and she did not like that. And so she took me off Ritalin immediately, and then lo and behold, all the research that we've come across over the years, that the fluorescent lights and sticking kids in square boxes and telling them to sit down and shut up and regurgitate this material. I was asking my math teacher, like, why? And she got all flustered and pissed off and sent me to the office.
Yeah.
I was always the kid that asked why.
I've been removed so many times just for asking questions. And my mom taught me when I was really young. She's like, just tell him you're inquisitive. And I was like 7. I was like, I'm inquisitive. They're like, fuck this kid.
I'm Curious George.
Yeah.
So I like to say now, your curse is your gift. So all my digestive issues, and I still work with my digestion, to this day. I'm on day 5 of a 10-day fast and herbal cleanse. And so I'm always looking to optimize. And so I haven't stopped. And then during my my years as a model, I got pretty caught up into partying and drugs and alcohol, and I sobered up from that. And the thing that really helped me the most was Vipassana meditation. And I sat many courses in silence. And then I started working with indigenous Maori healers from New Zealand. And I witnessed their body work. They don't do psychedelics and plant medicine. They have plant medicine and medicines from the bush, they call it. But for the most part, they worked with the body and the fascia and where we hold our trauma and most of our problems. And the first time I worked with them, they stepped on my calves, and within a split second, I was in a full body sweat. I couldn't even scream fast enough. And so it was like my whole body just like went into shock and relief at the same time. And then they stepped on the back of my head and my skull, and they're like 300-pound people, and they
Those
bounced.
big dudes.
And it was like the most intense healing session that I ever had. And I was hooked, and I worked with them on and off for 25 years. They came through Topanga Canyon when I was living in Los Angeles. And I was just enamored with the power of their healing, where one person would get a healing and they'd come back and they'd bring their whole family. And just, the tears. I mean, I'm getting emotional as it is right now because I had so much, profound healing with them, and I witnessed so much more healing. They would work on, 30, 40 people a day, and they'd bring, 4 or 5 healers with them at a time. And the people that hosted them in Topanga Canyon, Paul Farah and Melissa, they couldn't get pregnant, and they had all the money in the world for drugs and fertility doctors, and they couldn't get pregnant, and the Maori helped them conceive, and they have 2 children. Their children are like in their 20s now.
Wow.
And they would host them. So every year that they would come, they had a big compound out in Topanga with a couple houses, and they'd do a lot of healing work. And so working with indigenous people, and then somebody turned me on to an herbal company from the Amazon rainforest. And I started putting these plants into my body, and they were something different. I knew about wild herbs because I studied with Dr. Schultz and took all his herbs and all his liver flushes and colon cleanse stuff, and I got profound results. And then when I found a wild herbal company from the Amazon, and they use spagyric processing from Paracelsus, the ancient alchemist, and the power of these herbs it was a powerful experience for me. So I started working with that company, and that company's vendors were the Shipibo Indians. So they would harvest these herbs that are good to get inflammation out of the body, to flush bile secretion through the liver. Unidagato is world renowned as well now. They sell it at Walmart and stuff. But the herbs that they used, dragon's blood, chuchuwasi, paw de arco, antifungal, antiviral, just really powerful herbs, and I loved them. And then I went down there in 2006 with the company and went far upriver and met with our vendors, the Shipibo Indians, then I started to drink the ayahuasca, and the ayahuasca woke me up to a whole other level. And I had quite a few profound visions when I was down there the first time. And then leaving the jungle, there was barges with all these major trees on there, like big ass trees. And then when I got to the city center, there was a mountain of sawdust, and then 2x4s on barges going up to Home Depot. And I was just like, I've got to do something, right? This, as a man, I felt a huge responsibility for that. And, that was 2006. And, Certified Health Nut's been unfolding ever since. Certified Health Nut was one of the visions that I had, and my family was the other vision. The third vision that I had is that humanity makes it from, the precipice of exactly where we're at. And it's gotten a lot worse with the chemtrails and what you see in Tulum, and that's affecting the coral reefs down there. Like, we are majorly fucking up all these ecosystems. The Deep Horizon oil spill that was in the Gulf of Mexico.
Yeah.
And the list goes on.
I think we're at like 96% of major big fish are gone, extinct.
I mean, yeah, and so it's this whole species collapse, and I'm a species on planet Earth. So it's like, if I don't get to work and make a difference, who will? And then I realized you've got oil's running everything, and oil exploration's the number one deforestation component in the Amazon. They explore and look for oil in Peru and Ecuador, and then if they don't find it, then they give the Indians $1 a day and a chainsaw to cut down the rest of the forest, fell the trees and bring them out to market. And then the cash crops get grown. And this is really the destruction of the rainforest. So that's kind of my bent that you see on social media, and why I do what I do now. And then to heal myself and optimize myself, I found Paul Chek and the Chek Institute, and I just work towards more optimization for myself. And 80% or 9 out of 10 Americans are metabolically dysfunctional. The 75% of the American people are obese or overweight. Chronic disease amongst children is skyrocketed. I think it's like 50%. Autism's super high right now. And so I'm a product of the environment. If those statistics have exponentially increased since I've been alive, then 75% is close to 100%, and I'm one of the 100%.
Yeah.
So I have to do something. So that's my whole come from of why I do what I do.
I didn't know that about you, man. That I really relate to that. My start in this whole game, I mean, my mother was a yoga instructor, so I was exposed to that world when I was younger, but I actually went off and tried to be an environmental scientist. That's what I went to school for. I went to Huxley College of the Environment up in Washington State, and I was going to do that. Like, since I was a kid, I was going to save the oceans, and I went. And I was like going deeper and like kind of finding out, what the career looked like. And I was like, man, at the end of this road, like maybe I'll get a grant I spent 10 years on to try to protect one small chunk of ocean, and everybody's just going to keep dumping fucking human feces and sewage or whatever around that area. It's just going to wash in there. I'm going to spend my whole life trying to protect this plot of ocean. I'm like, it's got to go deeper, and I go deeper, and then I start looking to the people, and I was having my own issues at the same time too. So I had that kind of tangential journey of like understanding like through myself the bigger problems with that I see in the environment. I'm like, fuck, the issue is like, you feel like shit. How are you supposed to care that somebody's throwing trash? How are you even going to care that you might be a part of the problem yourself directly through the things that you're purchasing, the things that you want to fill your home with, the way you raise your children, because they're going to go forward and do the same shit you do. And I was like, fuck, this is not how I save the oceans. I save the oceans by helping the people.
Yep.
And by healing myself first.
And healing yourself.
Yeah.
Right. And it's Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And so we are the only ones that really aren't in survival mode right now. The rest of the world, I mean, where's all that tungsten and cobalt coming from for those Tesla cars? It's not as sustainable as we want to think, right? Because there's young black children in Africa, excavating those materials. And then you go through COVID, and they rolled out the whole BLM thing and all that stuff, and we're dropping bombs on Afghanistan, Syria, Libya, Iraq, anywhere that has this oil, right? These natural resources. And so this is an act of genocide, just filling up your car with gasoline. And so it's up to all of us. It's not just, that's a problem, oil exploration in Ecuador, and they ruined the water for the Shuar, and they got leukemia, and that's not over there. That's all of us. Nobody's free until we're all free. We're all part of the ecosystem. We're all one or none. And that's the consciousness that's emerging now. It just is like fucking some heavy lifting because of the psychological warfare.
Well, that speaks to the need for the masculine to rise in a healthy way, and that like that reaction that you had of like, you know, not just I need to do something. As a man, I feel like I need to do something. Like this war is going on. These people need protected. Something needs to be done. Something needs to be penetrated and spoken for. And I think that that's something that is really starting to come online now. I don't remember whose prophecy. It's some indigenous tribe's prophecy, but it's like the bird of humanity unfolded the female wing first. Actually, I think I have that backwards. I think it's the wing of masculinity that folded first and that built the societies. And now what we need is the balance of the softening so that the men can heal and actually fly properly on that end of the bird of life or whatever. And we're seeing that with, you know, every 13 minutes a guy commits suicide. And we see these young men that just, you know, are idolizing people like, you know, no hate to Andrew Tate, but you see somebody who maybe has a little bit of something, he's strong and he, you know, promotes this thing and he can talk to women. So a young guy, that's all he has to look to. And he's like, they're like, I'm going to go do that. I have some clients that are like 20 and they idolize this guy. I'm like, dude, you need masculinity, yes, but you need healthy masculinity. And that's what it is. It's you fighting for something. It's not you just fighting. It's not just you garnering more resources. It's like, why are you doing this? Who do you actually want to be as a part of the collective tapestry of humanity as a man? You know, can you speak to that?
We're here to serve.
Yeah. Can you speak to the masculinity piece a little bit? Just like what you see being required from men now, and like what we need to do as men to kind of stand up and, you know, take our place in the world.
Yeah, I think everyone's got to find their own way. I see a lot of David Data's work and divine masculine talk and alpha masculinity with all the marketers and the guys on steroids and, you know, on the internet and stuff like that. But I don't think in those terms. I am a man, and what can I do with my resources? What can I do with the gifts that the Creator has given me? That's the question that I ask, the deeper question. Because clearly I have been given, you know, ample gifts, and I live in the first world where we do have the last vestiges of freedom. So, but I understand how we're all connected. And ultimately, we are all one, and no one is free until we are all free, and no one's free with the debt-slave system. So I talked about the oligarchy that we have and we live in. It's a top-down situation, and that's intertwined with the banking and the drug cartels or the pharmaceutical cartels, the banking, and this is all weapons industries as well. And it's all intertwined with the media, keeps it all in place. And so it's mind control. And so the four human needs that we have are water, food, shelter, and fire. And fire is represented with technology. So these things run off electricity right now. And so what can we do with the technology we have? Well, we can build 3D housing, right? If all we need is food, water, shelter, and fire, those are the four needs. Everything else is a want. And we're choking off our life support systems with plastic crap from China. And so, not that I don't enjoy a little bit of plastic crap from China. We're on this podcast right now, right? However, I postulate that we can do things better. We can do things aligned with nature. And there's a scientific term, it's called biomimicry. Life creates conditions conducive for life. So a spider at aqueous solution at room temperature will take things from its natural environment and make something 5 times the strength of steel, a spider web. Coral reefs can be said the same way. So if we can mimic nature, and human beings are, we have innovation and ingenuity, and so we can create whatever we desire. If the Wright brothers can fly like an eagle, and Steve Jobs can put a handheld computer in every man's hand, so he can change the world, right? And so whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. That's the essence of the industrial age. So if we've already created manifest destiny and we've conquered nature and each other, what can we do to harmonize? That's where my mind is at. And I postulate that we can live dynamically and harmonically in this ecosystem and create something that's healthy and vibrant. And then we can move beyond the limitations that we've set for ourselves. Papa Joe, the great Maori healer, told me that the human being is the most technological advanced piece of equipment in the whole entire universe. Einstein said we're only using 5% of our brain.
Yeah.
And so what can we do if we elevate our consciousness? If I'm not shooting content to change the world and trying to keep myself healthy as I'm being bombarded by pollution and have to navigate like pure food and make mountains of money just to get pure food. Could you imagine if all those things were taken care of and we could thrive and then get down with our creativity and then start working with teleportation and time travel and other facets of consciousness beyond just working in the 9-to-5 rat race and eating shit and off the backbones of these poor kids in Africa that have to do slave wage to pull natural resources out of the earth and contaminate their neck of the woods.
Yeah.
Because if we're all one, then we're contaminating all of our neck of the woods, and we're all look at what's happening in Cancer Alley in the Mississippi Delta that killed the shrimp market.
It's so insane.
And what you said about the fish, I mean, you've got an environmental bent, and I'm here to tell you that climate change and global warming has been hijacked by these corporations for more of the totalitarian tiptoe.
More control. You got to do this. You got to move this way. No meat. Meat's bad. We got to get rid of meat.
So the bottom line is you want to save the world, save yourself first and foremost, and advocate that for everyone in your local environment, and do the best you can. I like local motion, right? How about bike, metro, and walking, right? That I lived pretty much car free most of the years I was in Los Angeles, where everybody drives. I didn't want to be stuck in my car. I used my bicycle and moved to an area that I could live on my bicycle.
Yeah.
Sedona too, right? You're on the.
Well, I ended up buying electric bikes because it's hot here and there was higher elevations and mountains, and I transport my children on my bicycles as well. So I upgraded to electric bikes, but for the most part, I prefer to be on my bicycle. I have a car, but I don't like to use it that much.
Yeah.
I think that like it's weird because people, I think if anybody were really pressed, everybody knows a lot of the things that you're talking about. Like we know that we're connected. We know that there's better solutions out there, but the issue is the complacency, and behind that, what we need is the disagreeableness. And I think that's why I really like
that
these
brings
guys.
us back to masculinity.
Right. I love these guys here because they're blunt as fuck with me. They will tell me that something is wrong, or they'll tell me if I'm being stupid. We disagree. Like we're willing to be disagreeable. And I think that's something that is really lacking. That's what we need to pierce through the complacency, is the ability to disagree and start asking those questions. But first we have to be willing to stand in the discomfort, right?
Yeah.
And stand in the discomfort. I think that is part of the masculine, and have those conversations or use the talking stick when you're sitting around the fire and let's solve our problem as men. So you asked the question about masculinity. I mean, I did men's work for years, and I know that there's a lot of coaches out there that kind of want to flex. And, you know, I think men are very simple. When we get stuff off of our chest, there's other men around the fire that are going through that. And then we can all feel better and lighter and go about our lives being men. First and foremost, what I like to do with men's work as well is do some ice baths or some sweat lodges. And, but sitting around the fire and getting things off our chest is very important, and talking about what's important instead of not talking about it.
Vulnerability and you know, as soon as one guy opens up and starts to share, you know, I've been struggling with this. It's like all of a sudden everybody lets their guard down. They're like, oh, brother, me too.
Like the conversations you have in the sauna with dudes when you're like really getting after it, you're like, I mean, you have some of the most consistently the most profound conversations I have with dudes that are just normal fucking dudes that I don't know. That was actually apparently the impetus for the peace pipe, is that grandfather tobacco energy would ground us, and we would sit and be able to have the stimulation to want to talk, but we'd also be grounded, and we'd be able to sit around the fire and be able to pass it around and have this moment of shared stimulation towards conversation and just being able to be open because you're feeling a little loose. You're feeling a little, I mean, we're all rocking some knick-knack right now. It helps us to be able to do that. But as you said, men are very simple. It's just that we're not giving ourselves that outlet to be able to have those conversations in the first place, because men talking has been so just downplayed so much, and now we're even afraid because of toxic masculinity. And I think a lot of the men's work groups are great in some ways, but a lot of them overcorrect. A lot of them are just going too hard. They're just yelling, and it's like that's not really what we need to do. There's some of that in there, but
it's either yelling at and demeaning other men, which I'm not going to name names, but there's
I'm not into that
but,
at all.
But then there's the other side where it's like these guys get together and have some chocolate and a cacao ceremony and just cry to each other. But there's no balance of
It's got to be some balance.
Do you know about Sacred Sons?
I do know about them, and I think the impetus for them to start was pure, but I saw it kind of go.
I don't know where they're at now, but I
think
met
somebody bought them.
I met the owner, the founder, Adam Grant or Adam Jackson.
There's like three or four of them.
Yeah, I met him in Costa Rica. I was down there with Christian actually at CVC, and we were at a Envision festival, and it was really interesting.
Bear is one of the other cats.
Who?
I think his name's Bear.
Bear. Yeah. It's interesting. They seem to do
real homies. I mean, big shout out to the originators of Sacred Sons.
I mean, the impetus I think is so pure, and I think we can take a lot from that. And that they were specifically, it's not just to exalt the male. It's they come at it from the perspective of men are to be of service fundamentally, and especially integrating the aspect of the feminine as well, and the mothers and the daughters and the sisters. Like that's why we need to be doing this stuff. And I think that people are lacking the context of like, no, you need to be disagreeable at times so that you can protect the people you love, and so that we can get ourselves out of this fucked up situation that's obviously getting worse, that everybody can clearly fucking see is not working. We're fucking fat and sick. Our daughters are dying at younger ages. Type 2 diabetes it used to be adult onset diabetes because kids never got it, but now it's normal for a 12-year-old to have diabetes, and let's throw them on a semaglutide. Let's get them, like, it's like, what the fuck? Let's disagree a little bit. Let's pump the brakes and be like, let's start asking some questions and having some uncomfortable conversations.
Yeah. Well, I like to boil down the masculinity situation as traditionally men have known what's on the horizon to eat and what potentially can eat them and penetrate the perimeter. And you're aware. And I'm very aware of the environment, and I am part of the environment, and the sky is falling. I don't like to be Chicken Little. I like to be Chicken Little with big solutions, right? And so the first and foremost thing is to be healthy. Don't fuck around with your nutrition, period, right? And we need to support the farmers that are growing our food, and the water is very important too. We're mostly water. So sourcing good water and advocating for good industry that is not going to poison the commons. And so it all comes down to just us being healthy. And then once we realize what health actually is, we can start voting with our dollars and really sway the whole marketplace. And I think that's what these major corporations are afraid of. People start making their own decisions. And it's going to put them out of business. I mean, I think the FDA and the drug companies are shitting in their boots right now because of what RFK represents. Now, whether it gets pushed through or whether they pull some other psychological operations and psyops and all sorts of other weirdo stuff is to be seen. However, I think we're moving in a good direction, that my platform is now commercialized, and I've been singing the same song for the last 20 years.
That's what's been so cool about like all these things that you've been talking about and others in the health industry have been talking about that are, harmful, phthalates and endocrine disruptors and all these, even just food dyes in cereal. Yeah, all this is becoming mainstream conversation, where obviously you have a bunch of people saying, oh, Utah is removing fluoride from the water. Get ready to, see everybody's teeth fall out. Yeah. It's like, well, I'm not here to convince those people of anything. But it's great to see that that's now part of the national conversation.
Yeah, for the first time, I feel like in my whole life, I've seen people actually.
The vaccines are front and center, and I've been on that front line for years. My son was born in 2007, so I did most of my research back then. Suzanne Humphrey's book, Dissolving Illusions, I think came out in 2012, something like that. Yeah. And she was just on Joe Rogan. Yeah. So
great episode.
Yeah, and so now it's becoming common knowledge, and I lost one of my high school friends. He was like, "This is where we part ways," because I supported the Maha movement and RFK. He's like, "I guess this is where we part ways," and protecting children, and
Yeah.
you might want to dig a little deeper there.
Yeah, I had my little brother. I have a half brother. He just turned 18. I kind of like grew up around him, but I wasn't really around that much. And I was kind of aware of this whole journey that happened from the outside. But he was a normal kid and got a shitload of vaccines. I guess they delayed them for whatever reason. He got a ton all at once, and he's severely. I don't know like what the politically correct term would be, but like
Autistic.
I guess. But like I feel like people are like, I'm
You're not
autistic.
supposed to say that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I don't know like where to put it, but I mean he's just like severely impaired, like crazy scoliosis, and like they just give him the iPad or the phone, and he like doesn't really eat anything but chicken nuggets, and he doesn't really talk. And I was visiting my dad. I'd like really never see them. I went back to see them for Christmas and visited, and for the first time, I didn't know that it was actually a vaccine injury that caused that. I was talking to my dad, and it's one of the first times I'd talked to him in a while, and he was like, you know, was a normal kid for the longest time. We got a bunch of vaccines. He's like, the vaccine did this. And it was so crazy to see my dad, who just doesn't like have any interest in saying any sort of shit, but because of the lexicon had shifted, he was like, no, it was that. It was that for sure.
Yeah.
And it was just so cool to see the shift happening.
I mean, it's only common sense if you look at the 1986 Act, which exonerated vaccine manufacturing companies from any liability, and then actually we pay for it, right, through VAERS and the vaccine adverse event reporting. And so the taxpayers pay for the mistakes, and only a very small percentage ever get reported, and it's very, very difficult to get any compensation whatsoever. And there's been $4 billion paid out to vaccine injured families, and that was before COVID. And now COVID, after COVID, the adverse reactions for that vaccine has gone through the roof. So I think there was, I want to say there was only like, you know, in the thousands or something. I don't know the number specifically, but you can look it up. And since COVID, VAERS has, you know, skyrocketed. And so it's only common sense. And that's what RFK is talking about, because he's not only on the vaccine front, he was an environmental lawyer fighting corporate crime, polluting the riverways with mercury. And
yeah, the Hudson, right?
yeah. And so not only environmentally, but there's the red line drawn, I think it's from 1989. So that's, you got glyphosate came on right around that time. Then you've got the vaccine schedule went from like, I think 10 to like 72. And then the health of the human just plummeted.
Yeah, I mean, even when you look at things like folic acid being introduced to every single grain, all the fortified grains, you know, in 1992, and we see all this uptick in ADHD in children and young boys who can't sit still for some reason, and 40% of people have this MTHFR gene variation, and nobody fucking tests for it. It's like, why are we not using common sense to do something about this thing that affects so many people?
I found out I had that gene.
Do you?
Like, yeah, I found out super late. I'm like, well, this would have been great to know about.
In high school? Or
Yeah.
And no matter what, now that you know it, you still get to navigate it, right?
Right, yeah.
And so, and it's not necessarily easy to navigate either.
Right.
And so I haven't been tested. I'm not really big on blood tests and genetic tests. I like to look in the mirror and see how I feel, and look in the toilet bowl, and if I can do better, I do better, and I tweak, and I'm still breathing in the air. I'm still surrounded by municipal water supplies. When I do my reverse osmosis system, you're still getting homeopathic imprints of pharmaceutical drugs in there.
Yeah, for sure.
And birth control pills and stuff like that. And so this is affecting us all, and hence, you know, back to why I do what I do, because it affects us all.
Yeah.
And so, and my kids are part of the all. And so I'm here to do something for my genealogy, for my legacy.
Yeah. How do you feel like navigating this world, like as a media person? Like, how do you feel that the world has changed now that things are coming online more? I mean, you've been going really hard on the media, and that's kind of the name of the game. That's why we're doing this. Like, media is the kind of the medium for us to reach people. How do you feel about this space that we're in now? You see the bioculture boys building out these retreats and kind of getting together to build content. That's why we're doing what we're doing. How do you feel about the media space and the health niche today?
I love it. I mean, social media, you know, we got two forces guiding everything: yin and yang, masculine, feminine, inhalation, exhalation. You don't say that inhalation's better than exhalation, right? So we're balancing out these two forces, and I think social media has a way for us. Social media has a way for us to penetrate the consciousness. We're dealing with psychological warfare. After World War I and World War II, there was so much collateral damage as far as Dresden, Hiroshima, Nagasaki, London. They were bombed to smithereens. And so instead of deploying these armies, they wanted to see what they could do with the human mind. So MK Ultra, Mockingbird, Operation Paperclip, they took a lot of these scientists and they figured out how to climb inside the human mind to program them and control the people. And so social media has a way to reverse that. And there's a very fine line. It's the razor's edge of the S curve of the yin yang symbol. And so we can use the social media for good. And it's also being used for stupidity as well, right? You've got the Kardashian consciousness with the fake boobs and the fake lips and the makeup and the toxic clothing and Ozempic as well, right? All these drugs, and it's even being exacerbated now. And it's very sad as well. You see young kids on Viagra in their 20s and their 30s, and there's these drugs. They can get boners, and then they can get their muscles from testosterone and Tren and Anvar and all these steroids and these drugs. And it's like, drugs work. You take some cocaine and some heroin, some fentanyl, just go look at any city center, San Francisco or LA. People are zombied out with the whole fentanyl situation. So drugs work. There's no doubt about it. And so what compounds can we use to elevate the consciousness? Well, Hippocrates said that food is medicine, right? And he was the father of modern day medicine, to the tune that modern day doctors have to take the Hippocratic Oath, which states to do no harm. But all they do is push pills, and pills have side effects, but side effects is a marketing gimmick. Yeah. Right? There is no side effects. They're toxic effects on the body. And so can we get back to some semblance? I do some semblance of common sense and consciousness. And I do like Callie Means and his sister wrote a book. And when I ran into him at the AmFest here in Phoenix, him and RFK, I do believe they are campaigning on like real science. And I'm like, do we really need real science if Hippocrates said, let thy food be thy medicine? And basically, no. That's what Callie Means would say. Basically, no. That is common sense. This is the direction we need to go in. But we have these whole industries that are in our way, and people are believing this scientism, which is research bias. Prostitutes or the scientists are the prostitutes of the modern era, Paul Chek likes to say. And so we have to reverse engineer all this stuff. And I think social media is a tool to do that. This is what a healthy body looks like. I'll be 60 this year. And so you don't have to be metabolically dysfunctional. You don't have to inject yourself with steroids just to be strong and vital and have clear skin and be virile as well. I choose to have more children. And so I don't, I want to be strong and vital until the day that I die. And it's totally possible. Not only I'm living it, but I've got 65,000 colleagues in the Chek Institute and Paul Chek, and it makes a huge difference when you eat organic, farmer direct, regenerative farmed food and take herbs and other things to help your bloodstream and your organs. And so it makes a huge difference. And I get to exemplify this now on social media, and I get to talk about it. So I do like the way things are turning. And I don't know if you follow the Vedic scriptures or I just know about it a little bit loosely. In the Kali Yuga, these are the dark eras, and it's a 2,500 year cycle, I do believe, and we've just completed a 25,000 year cycle. That was what the Mayan calendar,
the 2012 thing,
talked about as well. And so we are going the age of Aquarius. We're going through a transition in consciousness, and that's what I'm calling forth. And it's just time to rise up. And it's like, the only question you want to ask yourself is, okay, we know the polyester clothing has PFAS in it, and it can climb up your vagina if you're wearing yoga pants all the time.
Yeah.
And this can mess with your fertility. And procreation is prime directive. And so do you want to have a family? Do you want to live healthy, vital, and have healthy and vital children? Or do you want to have an autistic anomaly,
Right.
something that's been poisoned, an organism that's been poisoned? And so I'm just trying to get everybody around the fire singing Kumbaya and let's do things differently.
Yeah, yeah.
Because we can.
We absolutely can. And these conversations are the things that allow us to kind of spark that fire and spark the curiosity. Like, I think that's why I really am so passionate about what we're doing. We podcasted with this guy, Shawn Fairchild, yesterday. He's 27. And, we're all kind of young and reaching this part of the society, I guess, that hasn't been reached because I think health has been kind of unrelatable. And that's why I really gravitated towards you years ago when I followed you. Because you do some fucking out there shit. And seeing you just be fully out there, I'm like, dude, this guy's just fully being himself. But it felt so much more relatable than, the lady in the white robes just preaching love and talking like this. And, it's a luxury and you got to go to Erewhon. It's like, no, let's be a little bit more grounded. Let's be weird. Let's be real people and maybe start to present a version of health that people might be able to relate to a little more.
Yeah, authenticity. I have a online program called the Legacy Method, and it's living a life of purpose, and I wanted to call it How to Be Your Motherfucking Self.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, if we all just be ourselves, give our gifts, do what we love, well, you're going to need your health to do that to the nth degree. You're going to need your cognition, you're going to need your physicality, etc. And so holistic health is a natural addendum to this authenticity piece.
Exactly.
And not being so codependent and trying to fit into society.
Mm-hmm.
And the educational system, which is really an indoctrination system, and it's really about being yourself and figuring out the gifts that the Creator gave you, and posting up unapologetically as yourself.
Yeah.
We're all unique children of God, and we all have these gifts from the Creator, and we're all very unique.
And every one of these challenges that we have is an opportunity for us to find that opportunity for authenticity. My whole philosophy is called cope. It's not what happens to you that defines your character. It's how you deal with the circumstances that you're involved with. So for me, I never was like, I want to be a health coach or a life coach, of which I'm both. I was like, I'm fucked up. Doctors are just giving me drugs. They're like, you're just born with an absence of these drugs that you need. So I go through that whole process. I was homeschooled when I was younger though, so I could do the research. I went and found my own way, flushed the pills, found the health that they told me I would never get. They told me when I was 15 that I was fucked, I was going to have really bad acne forever, and that I was always going to be manic depressive. Went and found my way to it. I was like, fuck. But the cool thing was I started doing cool shit, and then people started paying attention to me. And I was like, oh, okay, this is the context that we need for health. Yeah. It's you actually getting access to your full fucking self through health. It's not just health for no reason. It's if you want to do cool shit, you got to be dialed. And when you do cool shit, you get dialed. You feel better.
Well, it's full expression, and I trained as an actor in Los Angeles as well, and some of the techniques, they had the Alexander technique, which was how to hold your posture. Well, if you're going to be a performer, this is your instrument. If you're going to be a singer, this is your instrument, and you need that to be healthy and vibrant. And you see this with a lot of kids that have been through Teen Idol. Some of them come on obese, but later on they find their way, especially if they've had success. They end up finding some of these health coaches, and they realize that health is done a different way. I think Jennifer Hudson was another one of them, Kelly Clarkson, and so with the money and the resources, they've been able to get healthier, if you will. And of course, they live where Air One is too. They go to Los Angeles. But you need your instrument to express yourself, to be a better performer, artist, etc. And we're all artists and creatives at heart. We all have this unique creativity that comes through each individual, and so health goes hand in hand with personal expression. And I believe that we're moving into the age of authenticity.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one thing we've talked about a lot is for health and wellness, it's there's so many different sects of this world, whether you're holistic or nutritionist or the guy on trend, just bodybuilders at the gym and selling supplements. But the actual why behind it And the way I view it is the body is not my God. The body is my temple to worship God, to be able to express myself and live life more fully and be of service to other people.
That's correct.
Absolutely.
You know?
Be of service is critical, and you don't have that capacity if you're bogged down by metabolic processes or all doped up on pharmaceutical drugs.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So keeping that temple clean,
Yeah.
allows me to connect with my partner better, have better relationships with my friends, and be the guy that answers the phone
Yeah.
when someone's calling because I'm not hungover or I'm not, tired and in my own head. I'm able to be of service to them. So
Yeah.
but then like certain health podcasters and people that really focus on just like everything blood work, nutritionist, it becomes the body becomes the God.
Yeah, and a lot
becomes-
of the functional medical guys fall into the same rabbit holes that the allopathic guys do. I'm working with this company, Elementals. This woman, she was a clinical advisor for some functional doctors, and she was kind of like realizing that they were doing the same thing in the same model of just like prescribing. It's instead of
This
the
for that.
drugs, it's we're going super physiological doses of B12 or whatever, and it's just like it's still this myopic view. And her whole thing is actually promoting the cell's ability to be healthy and the body's ability to be healthy, because it's not just the myopic worship of the thing. It's like, no, we need the context of why we're doing this so that we can support the system, so that we can go about and do this thing. We're not just trying to fix this one fucking problem. We need supplements with the cofactors and the coenzymes. We need them in their bioavailable forms.
That's correct.
So that we can actually go forward and do the thing that we need to fucking do.
Herbalism, baby.
Yeah. Shout out to Elementals. Yeah. That's good stuff. So
Herbalism. I mean, people don't think that's the problem with the semantic game that we're all playing as well. And people think supplements are these isolated nutrients made in a laboratory, and so there's varying degrees of that. We used to hunt and gather. What were we gathering? Roots, barks, berries, herbs basically. And so these have very condensed nutrients. You can call them superfoods, you can call them whatever, but it has a unique profile that your domesticated lettuce, banana, carrot, apple, tomato, these are all hybrided elements. So if you want to get really dense nutrition, start studying a little bit of herbalism that can assist your body. And this is a different conversation around supplements. Maybe the dried materials come in a capsule or a tincture and it's brought to market. So, but you can still study herbalism and go out into the bush and get your own.
Yeah. Especially when you look at things like TCM. Like I find that world of traditional Chinese medicine so fucking fascinating. Because I mean, you go and like if you really talk to like an OG in that game, like and they have the wall of all the herbs. It's such an amazing experience.
Oh yeah, and I like to take it one step further with the classic Chinese medicine, which is the paida, where they slap the shit out of your meridians. The sexual kung fu, the ball slapping. I get into a little bit of that as well.
We saw you with Chad and JT doing some of the ball slapping.
Oh yeah. Well, it's basically self-healing, self-administered self-healing, and figuring out what you need to do. I mean, if I've got stagnation in my legs or I'm not feeling well, I can slap the shit out of myself, right? And I can stimulate my blood flow, my lymph flow, the qi flow. I can do some qigong.
Yep.
I can get out into nature. If I'm not getting the proper sleep, or if I'm externalizing myself and working too hard and making too much content on social media, I know how to reel it back in, get some extra sleep, go out into nature, maybe take a trip with the bioculture guys, get down in the ocean, etc. And so, it's the yin and the yang, and understanding the both, and being your own doctor. That's what I teach my children. Be your own doctor.
Yeah. So you've done some pretty like out there things. You've been in the game for a while. I think we have some reading material. If one were to start,
Here, let me take a leak real quick.
Oh yeah, that's perfect timing for where we're starting.
Oh yeah.
I actually got to take one too. It's a little piss break.
I went down to the biocultures retreat and I shot. They had equipment like this, and they had some interesting people there, and one girl on natural childbirth. So I did 6 podcasts just like that, in 4 days.
Just now?
Biocultures. Oh, I mean, I definitely used it for what that thing is set up for.
Yeah.
I did 6 podcasts, and I think we did 2 viral videos.
Okay. How was it down there? We kind of know them. We know of them. We've been like kind of watching them from a distance for a while. It seems like they're
I think
forming
it's
an
worthy
interesting
because
group.
of their template.
Yeah.
One sponsor. 3 or 4 influencers and then their followers.
Yeah.
Or anybody that wants to be healthy.
And they're building people out too. They're helping people build their platforms up, which is really interesting to see.
Totally.
Too.
And Nikki and Jack are doing the storytelling. Are we back?
Yeah, we're back. Potty break.
Yeah, Nikki and Jack are doing the storytellers, and it's a way of telling your story, being authentic in marketing and branding yourself. And I think I found that to be extremely valuable. I got a lot out of the one retreat I've been to so far, and I have my retreat.
When's that?
May 21st through the 25th.
Okay, is that down in Sayulita as well?
Yes, just north of there.
Cool.
And so I think what they're doing is really good. I think Christian's very authentic. He's been out there for a long time promoting holistic health. And so I like their template. And they're doing it. That's the other thing. They're not thinking about it. They're just doing it, whatever it takes. And, marketing can be challenging because you're vying for eyeballs. And some people have more marketing prowess and they're selling bullshit. And bullshit looks good.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It's real easy to sell.
Well, steroids looks great.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Can I get jacked? Okay. Follow this guy.
Yeah.
Oh, he didn't tell me about his secret supplement stack of...
And he didn't tell me about the trend cough. yeah, it's a thing. So I was going to ask you, and just in your ventures into health, we talk, we have our bloodletting, we have our enemas, we have all the things. If one were to start drinking his piss, can you give us a rundown?
Well...
Some background.
Yeah, please.
I was flipping through some of my smaller books that would be good just bringing for my trip, and I came across this, which was a book that you had recommended that before we ever had a relationship together, Water is Life, and I remember reading this on the treatise of urine therapy. Can you tell us a little bit of what initially got you into that realm and just experimenting with it?
Yeah, and if you still do, how are you feeling a while into it?
Yeah, so I've been practicing the ancient Ayurvedic art of Shivambu, which is urine therapy for 2005, so 20 years now.
Wow.
And so I was curious. I heard about the yogis. They did it. I tried it. I liked it. I practiced it for quite a while. And then in 2016, I met a guy who taught me some breathwork techniques. And he said that he cured himself of testicular cancer from drinking urine therapy. And he came to one of my workshops and he said he really admired my work, or he said he knew I was the real deal because I talked about drinking my pee on a video one time. And I thought, that's interesting. And then he said that he had cancer. He did chemo. He flew to Sweden because socialized medicine, and he was a Swedish national. And he was living in the States. And he got testicular cancer, and he went to Sweden to get free chemo. And they gave him chemo, and the doctors say, oh, it didn't work. We're going to have to take out your lymph nodes. And he's like, lymph nodes? He's like, those things are kind of important. And he was in his late 20s, I think. And so he went home, cracked open the internet, and found urine therapy, started looping his urine for 3 weeks. He went back to the doctors, and they couldn't find the cancer.
Looping is just consuming everything that you're putting out, right?
Basically fasting on your own urine.
Yeah.
And so then we were doing a lot of breath work at the time. I was going through separation with my ex-wife and facing divorce and all that stuff. And so we started doing a lot of breath work. He was really hip to breath work as well. And we did a lot of holotropic. And then he challenged me to a 7-day urine fast. And I took the challenge. I like fasting. And I looped my urine for 7 days. And then he taught me about aged urine and aged urine enemas. And I got really good results from them. I saw some liver flukes come out of me. And, you're looking in the toilet bowl, you're like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, there's fucking alien
That was
in there,
in my
dude.
body?
The alien looking shit. And I'm like, fucking,
it's like
a square jellyfish with a hook on it and stuff.
Yeah.
And it was like translucent at the end, and then it got darker and then red towards the middle. And I was like, what the fuck is that?
Jeez.
And so, and I felt a lot better, and then I put it on my skin, and it really made my skin feel and look good. And I took it out to the beach because it smells like ammonia. So I would take a jar out to the beach where nobody was around, and I would just put it on me and sit out in the sun with it. And it's photobiomodulation, kind of like methylene blue, right? You know, you're getting all that sunlight, and it also, if it would stay on me for a while, it would feel steroidal. I got a pump from it.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, okay. So that's interesting. I advocate that book, J.W. Armstrong's The Water of Life. I've never read it. I just know that it came recommended by the guy that taught me.
This is the book that people talk to a lot.
Yeah, and it's one of the books. I think there's a couple other books as well. And so, but I never read it. I've only practiced, and these are my results. And I don't really advocate it for other people because it's such a mental shift. And so, but I talk about it, and people are inspired to do it themselves. So, okay, great. And then other people think it's gross and they don't want to do it, and I'm like, that's great too.
Yeah.
So I'm just here to, reporting live from planet Earth. It's Troy Casey, certified health nut, super psycho chicken of cyberspace, your leader. And so, so I get a kick out of it. What are you going to do? And then you research it more and more, and people that have done it for over the years. And some people think it's a panacea and it's the greatest thing in the world. And Dr. Brian Ardis is on it now, and he's the one who's talking about nicotine patches and COVID vaccines and how to recover from them. And Jonathan Otto owns the website urinetherapy.com with Dr. Edward Group, who's another huge advocate of urine therapy, and he was one of the advisors for the Trump administration in 2016. And so, and these guys love me because I actually talk about it on social media. And they think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. And fucking Dr. Brian Ardis doesn't even do it. He doesn't even practice it, but he advocates for it, especially if you're like on your deathbed and you have nowhere else to turn, and you've been
why not?
You've been injured by these poison injections, and there's nowhere else to turn. It's like, yep, you might as well try urine therapy.
But what about for people who maybe are going through chemo, or they're on heavy pharmaceuticals trying to get well, and if they were to turn to something like this, are they just putting these toxins back into their body, or how does that work exactly?
Again, you're going to get anecdotal information from me, so
That's fine.
Yeah, and so I know everybody wants these reams of data, scientific facts or whatever, but the bottom line is they're not going to spend a lot of money on researching urine, although urea is in cosmetics and other drugs as well. And so so I did an interview with Jonathan Otto, who's an investigative journalist, and he worked on The Truth About Cancer and The Truth About Vaccines with Ty Bollinger. And he works with Dr. Brian Ardis and Dr. Edward Group, and they own urinetherapy.com together. And he said, I've got a YouTube interview, Jonathan Otto and Certified Health Nut. And in that, he said, because I thought the same thing, you got to have a clean diet and you've got to, be off drugs. But he said that, I think what he says in the interview is that I think it's 0.3% are toxins that come out of your urine. What it is metabolites, antigens, antibodies, cell salts, amino acids, hormones, etc. So it has, and it's like a micro medicine or a homeopathic medicine or an imprint, and the way I liken it to is it's a direct feedback loop. It's giving my consciousness what's wrong with me or what needs to be adjusted, or and I can taste, if I'm detoxing, if I've got too much caffeine in there. And so it's a direct feedback loop. So I usually drink my first urine in the morning. And that has about 104 stem cells, something like that. If you put it in a mason jar and ferment it for up to 3 weeks, it has 100 million stem cells.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, so it's all in the interview. You'll get it from there. But he also says if you're on medical drug, none of it matters, is what he said. That's his research. You can cross-reference that with him and that interview I did on YouTube and his website, urinetherapy.com. The one NIH study that I read on the front page of urinetherapy.com was this thing about the stem cells. And so,
I think that primary detox pathway for pharmaceuticals, like a lot of the tainting that we get in the municipal water systems, actually does come from fecal matter, I believe, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
so
I mean,
fecal matter, your sweat and your lungs. I mean, those are lungs are the biggest detoxification organ, and then most of the raw materials are going to come out through your feces.
Yeah.
When I first tried it, I did do the aged, and I aged it for 6 months.
Woo!
And I pull it out of there. I had it in my shed, in my condo that my wife and I,
In the corner.
newlyweds, just moved into. And I told her, hey, I'm aging some piss in the shed back there. Don't mess with it or
It's a
touch
good
it.
test to see if she's really down.
Yeah, and so I bring it in and I throw it in the enema bucket. And she's like, you gotta get this out of the house ASAP. This smells so bad. I'm like, well, just hold on. Let me get it up my butt. And then
Just give me a second. Like,
yeah, and but it was powerful. Like I'm not sure like what type of things came out, but it wasn't fecal matter. Like it, and that was when I was doing a lot of heavy detoxing and different protocols at the time, and it is a potent one. But when we got on the road, when we were in the RV, I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna be able to age any urine in the RV. It's a little risky.
Yeah, a little bit. Things break. Things spill. Yeah.
With the sunshine here, it'd be nice just to get in the backyard and kind of lather up.
I got a great pool yard, and I got big jars.
Yeah.
I did an aged urine enema the other day, and it was amazing. I started my whole this cleanse that I'm on right now. I started it out on day 2, I think, and it was a good flush.
Yeah.
I'll probably do another one now that we're talking about it.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. Like, that was one of the first things that I saw about you. And I was like, obviously first I was like, what the fuck? And then I was like, man, I like this guy. He's just putting it out there, dude. Like, the fact that you're just so open and talking about it. I mean, you're the first dude that I ever saw talking about this. And then it did lead me to do some research. And I was like, okay.
I mean, look at my skin.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm proud of my skin. I take care of my skin.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I love it. And because I have a nice pool yard, I do it more often than I ever did when I was in Los Angeles or anything like that.
Yeah.
And so it's good medicine. I like it personally.
Yeah.
It's not for everyone, but
Yeah, it's definitely like a deeper practice for sure. And like amidst that too, I mean, being in the game for a while, we have all these like really deep, far out there things. You have peptides, you can go get, all these procedures done, all these things. But like, what would you say to somebody that is like just really struggling with their health? What are like the basics that people need to attend to? Obviously we have diet, but what would you say just, after going through all these different things, trying these different things, what are some of the basics that you really try to put people onto?
Well, that's all I teach is basics, right? I liken it to, the martial arts master. He's going to teach you punch, block, kick. Come back tomorrow, punch, block, kick. You got your white belt. Well, you get a black belt by getting the white belt dirty, right? So that's the history, of the essence of martial arts. And so the body's made up of water. It's a good idea to get some pure water. You drink every day. It's a good idea to get, structured, pure, absorbable water as much as possible. Your body's made up of the earth, and that comes in the form of nutrition. And so, and you replicate your cells every day, every year. I think 7 years it replicates the whole body. And so it's a good idea to get the purest food that you possibly can. Sleep, there's been tons of research on sleep. We're harmonized with the sun and the moon. Cortisol rises when the sun rises, and melatonin comes out when the moon comes out. And so it's a good idea to get some really good sleep, especially because that's the feminine aspect or the yin aspect of life. It's the anabolic phase, right? We've heard of anabolic steroids build up, right? So that's where we're going to repair. So if you're not feeling well, get better sleep. The body needs to move. The purpose of exercise is to move the lymphatic fluids. So we need movement. We are electromagnetic beings, so it's a good idea to get energy from the sun, the source of all life on planet Earth, and get it on your skin, acclimate your skin, get it on your nuts, get it everywhere, right? It's the sun, and we are electromagnetic beings, so magnetism from the Earth. Ground out all the Wi-Fi electromagnetic currents that are going everywhere, dirty electricity, ground that out by stepping onto the Earth or hugging a tree. We're in relationship with everyone and everything, so it's a good idea to be grateful for what we have and forgive what was. And then I think it's very important that we optimize our breathing mechanics and also check in with our thoughts and how we programmed our mind through indoctrination in the school system, and how to deprogram our mind with either psychedelics or meditation or any type of prayer and contemplation. And affirmations. Louise Hay's body of work is excellent as well. And then finally, or what I start all my clients out with first, is figuring out your legacy, your purpose, your dream, your gift, what it is that you love to do, and go in that direction. Now, monetizing that can be a challenge, but this is the entrepreneurial way, and I do believe that we're all highly creative, and that we can move in the direction of our heart's desire. And so that's the 9 pillars of health. And these are all basics. And with my student body, I have Knowledge of Self University as well, an online community. Everything is about the basics. It's not about a bunch of highfalutin, let's do some psychological stuff. Like, let's figure, are you a narcissist? Are you depressed?
Yeah.
Do you have anxiety? This is the human experience, to have all these emotions and experiences, and so how to be as balanced as possible. All the ancient sages have said, walk the middle path, walk the razor's edge, be balanced. We have 2 forces that are guiding us. And so hydration, nutrition, sleep, movement, relationships, nature, your thoughts, and your legacy. These are all a good framework that I've discovered to manage my own life. Understanding the 7 factors of stress, I think, is very important as well. Digital communications, this is all brand new technology. We didn't have cell phones when I got married, right? And so texting, like, why didn't you text me back? Like, that didn't exist 15 years ago, right?
Yeah.
And so managing your digital stress, understanding electromagnetic radiation and pollution, understanding chemical stress. Billions of pounds of toxic compounds have been pumped into the environment since the dawn of the industrial age, every single year, by the way, right? And so we're breathing all that in, and so assisting your body in the detoxification process with sauna and skin brush and water, back to water quality again as well. The solution to pollution is dilution. And so these are all basics. There's no fancy stuff, right?
Yeah.
We can get into herbalism, traditional Chinese medicine. We can talk about body work and acupuncture and PITA and bloodletting and urine therapy and all this stuff. But none of that matters if you're not covering your bases. Are you moving your body each and every day? Are you breathing properly? Is your diaphragm working? Are you a mouth breather and a neck breather? And so it may sound complicated, but these are all basics, and people are going to get more mileage out of fine-tuning their nutrition to organic, farmer direct only, and harmonizing their sleep and their water. They're going to get more mileage out of that than trying to outrun their bad diet. Because here's the way society's set up. If you're sick, you go see a medical doctor, right? If you're fat, you go see a trainer. The trainer is probably going to run you into the ground trying to outrun that bad diet. He's not checking in with your nutrition. He's not checking in with your sleep. He's not getting into your lifestyle. The lifestyle is so important. Your thoughts, why do you think the way you think? Why are you wearing plastic underwear? Why are you wearing plastic clothes? Do you think that might affect you? These are broader conversations, and it may sound complicated to the novice. However, they're all basics when you look at natural health and you look at holistic health and natural rhythms all the way around. And again, this is just punch, block, kick. And so, are you sleeping good? That's one of the first questions I ask my clients. What time are you getting to bed? An overweight body is a stressed body. If you're sleeping outside of the circadian rhythms, your hormones are going to be off, your body's going to be stressed, elevated cortisol. Chronic elevated cortisol creates inflammation. Inflammation creates disease, and disease kills dreams.
Yeah.
Or your legacy. So it's a good idea to get all this stuff, on point and stay to the basics. There's no need for the peptides and the hormones and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
If you don't have your basics taken care of.
Yeah.
Even just artificial light, man.
I mean, it's huge.
It
Oh,
boosts, or it increases insulin resistance.
Yeah, massively.
So people are getting obese just from
Hanging out in their house at 10 o'clock at night with all the lights on.
And Jack Cruz will tell you it's all light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out Jack Cruz.
And yeah, Jack Cruz has some definite valid
He's got some
points.
interesting points, and he's got some other points that are questionable.
Totally. You're
Yeah.
still going to need
Yeah.
organic food. You're still going to need
Yeah.
to move your body in various and different ways to make sure that there's chi flow, energy flow, lymph flow, and blood flow.
Yeah. So, like, I think that
Which
people...
is the essence of traditional Chinese medicine, by the way,
Right.
since we were talking about that.
Yep.
Is proper blood flow and chi flow.
It's all about the energy and the systems that are moving through the body, through the vessel. I think that people tend to go really deep because, I did a lot of work with psilocybin, and that's been a bit part of my coaching practice, but I've kind of stepped away from even really working with people in that space because I really have, through the years, just gotten myself more and more basic, more and more simple, more and more fundamental with the practices and the things that I want to kind of promote and try to encourage people towards. I think that a lot of times people, they want to, they come to me like, I want to do mushrooms. I'm ready for the big thing. I'm like, dude, I think that you're missing the final pillar, which you said is your mission. And I think that people are going to these very specific niche things because they don't have clarity on that mission. So what would you say to those people? How do you go about finding what that mission? How do you start to define your legacy and understand how you, eventually how you do cope with your life through if a ship has no harbor, no winds are favorable. If you have no aim, you're not going to know if it's good or not. You're not going to know if that fucking 8th gram trip of mushrooms you took was actually good for you or not, and you might just be more confused than before you started.
That's correct. If you don't know where you're going, then anywhere will do.
It's the replacement of the magic pill, really.
Yeah, you go to the wishing well again and again and again. You see a lot of people doing that with Aya right now, again and again and again and again, and taking it out of the jungle, and everybody can go do it at this guy's condo in Austin. It's questionable,
right?
But cool.
Yeah, very questionable. So I put it in my book as well, and all my online curriculum as well. And so one of the best places to start if you're sitting at home is really just sit down and write your eulogy, and be adventurous, be like Genghis Khan and wanting to stick your flag in the top of the mountain, right? Sir Edmund Hillary, wanting to climb Mount Everest. And so you want to imagine your mother, God forbid it's your mother or your best friend, reading your eulogy. This is my son. This is the life he came, he saw, he conquered, he had ups, he had downs. But overall, this is what he did and created. And so start there with your eulogy. You can shorten that just by what it's going to say on your tombstone. Then go into what you're good at, right? What you love to do, what you're good at. And then you can also look into, how you can monetize that. But again, that's the big trap. That's the big trap. Well, how am I going to make money doing that? And then people let go of their dreams. And then I like to use the formula for alchemy, which is love, truth, and wisdom. And so love is represented where you want to be, where you want to go, your dream, your legacy, your purpose. The truth is represented by the mirror, where you are at right now. And when you juxtapose the two, I want to build a business and, make $1 million or whatever. Okay, where am I right now? Well, I'm only making, $50,000 a year. Okay, all right. And you really want this? And I'm using a monetary example, but you could use an example of climbing Mount Everest or running a marathon. And so let's use running a marathon. All right, I want to run a marathon. Okay, that's my big dream right now. And so where are you at? Well, I can't run a mile, actually, and I get gassed out just by jogging. So you got a little work to do. So you never let go of your dream, and don't bullshit yourself, right? This is where I'm at. This is where I want to be. And that creates tension. And by law, tension must be resolved into the wisdom. And it's been said, it's not about the destination, it's the journey. And so through the journey, you gain the wisdom. And so, but never let go of your dream and never bullshit yourself. And that energy will propel you towards your dream. And you'll become extremely wise. I mean, let's face it, as entrepreneurs, we go through the school of hard knocks. There are many mistakes. In fact, the path to success is failure, right? But if you look at it that way, there's also no real failure. It's just the path, and that's wisdom that you learn. And that's why if you get around a businessman that's more successful, there's less tolerance for bullshit, right? Because they're seasoned. They've been through it. They've heard it. And so you gain a lot of wisdom, through the path of doing it. So to reiterate, your tombstone, your eulogy, what you love, you can also do an exercise of what if you won the lottery? You have all the time, you have all the money in the world. What are you doing with your time and your energy? And really elaborate and take the journal out and then pinpoint the things that you're good at and what you love to do and start moving in that direction.
Yeah. And all these things speak to contemplative practice, right? Like the issue is that people never shut the fuck up and they're never sitting in or with themselves. They're always on the phone.
I can be one of those guys.
Yeah. I mean, we all get pulled into it because we're all in the media channels because that's where we put our stuff out. But it's like, I'm constantly shocked at the profundity of just meditation, and, speaking of like Vipassana, just sitting still, just being quiet and seeing what you actually have going on there instead of just always, projecting out and out and out. That's all good and fine. Go out there, conquer, stick your dick in the soil, do whatever you want, but also look in the yin. We have to reflect. We have to make time for these things. And I think that that's one of the things that we see with our generation. They never sit still. I mean, I can't tell you how many women I've talked to my age and I just walk right out the date because I'm like, what book have you read recently? I don't read. Okay. All right.
Have you watched Love is Blind?
No.
Yeah.
What's that?
No, it's just like girls will ask that type of stuff.
Oh, yeah. Like, do you read?
That's like first. I mean, I've been married for a lot of years, but like, I know of some of her friends that'll go on dates and they'll be like, he's not even into Love is Blind or like any of these dating shows. I'm like, well, that's good. You found a good guy.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, we don't have much in common. I'm like, oh, then he dodged a bullet.
Yeah, I mean, if you meet a guy that's watching a bunch of dating shows, it's probably not really the guy that's gonna protect you in a situation or do whatever. But I mean, even like reading is still entertainment. You're still getting something. But even just that lower stimulation version of entertainment, people can't even do that. So you damn sure aren't gonna meditate or go on a walk.
Well, yeah, that's I was going to talk about walking because that can be a movement meditation. A lot of people, they don't necessarily have the capacity or the discipline to meditate, to slow down. They don't even know what it's like. And so, but what I work with a lot of my students is just get into a walking practice. Huge. And that can, put your phone away and just go for a walk.
Yep.
Take your dog, go out into nature. It's going to be much better, but you can do it in a city park as well. And just walk and get that rhythm and that flow and, process your thoughts. I like movement meditation. I like Qigong. Sitting is definitely a huge discipline and practice. And so some people can get meditation from doing art as well.
Dance as well.
Art, dance. I love the ecstatic dance up in Sedona.
That's some good shit.
Yeah.
It's fun.
It's some really good shit.
Yeah, dude. It's really fun.
It's called martial arts too. Like one of the best meditations.
Yeah.
Oh
my God, dude.
Jiu-jitsu.
You're no more in the present moment than when you're focused on not being choked, unconscious, or punched in the face.
Yeah. Last night was my first like proper role jiu-jitsu, like as an adult. Like I did some like intro classes when I was younger, but the first time being like a big boy and like going and really having another big guy try to kill me, Kyle over here. And I felt so high after, dude. I felt just so calm. I felt so stimulated and turned on, like very creative, but I felt just so centered, just fully exhausting myself. We weren't fucking talking. It's just a lot of,
Yeah.
grunting and like trying to fucking get one over each other.
Yeah.
Can you pause for a second?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're good. Cool.
Well, we were talking at the end about jiu-jitsu before we just stopped, but I know Crone Gracie. I've been friends with him since like 2017, and just standing in front of him, like especially because he'd come to Air One after training, and it was just like you were standing next to like a Zen master. He would just like look straight through you, and that's just that brute force of just like you've already given it your all. You're there. You're still present, and it's like that level of presence after doing jiu-jitsu. I mean, especially him. I mean,
Have you seen some of the old footage of his dad, Hickson, where he'd do like the belly, the Vinasana?
Yeah,
or
he did it in
whatever.
the Hulk, right, at the beginning of that movie.
Yeah, and then
the
like,
Hulk.
Yeah, they
with
put him in the
Edward
big-
Norton.
It was, which one was it?
The Hulk with Edward Norton. I saw him do that.
Yeah,
All
that's
the
what I'm talking about.
all
Yeah,
the breathing stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he would like go into these like frozen waterfalls and go underneath. He was doing a lot of like the cold and the breath work before anybody
Yeah,
was
way
really
ahead.
I mean, probably not before anybody. It's been
Well, before
going
people
around.
were talking about it in like a
Yeah.
mainstream way. Yeah, for sure.
And so Kron, picked up a lot of that, but unfortunately with Kron, his even though his jiu-jitsu's great, it didn't translate to MMA quite as well.
Well, it was 25 years after his uncle, brought it, and everybody just got good at wrestling.
Yeah.
Yeah. 20. It might even have been 30 years after. I mean, so his stand-up game, and it was pretty wide open too. He kind of fought like the Diaz brothers, and like was taking so many punches.
Yeah.
And so that last elbow, I really felt bad for him, and I wrote him a text message, and I was like, "Hope you're okay, buddy." He goes, "That's a fucking fight game."
Yeah.
I was like, "All right," but dude, it's a fucking nasty elbow.
Dude,
Yeah.
I mean, taking a fucking elbow like that
Dude.
is so... You feel it watching it. You're like, oh.
Yeah, I mean, that's my friend. It's like,
You okay, buddy?
yeah, I mean, I was like, shit, man. But yeah, fucking warriors. And just that, like you were saying, coming out of jiu-jitsu, and you just feel like, whew. And I would just see that with Crone, I'd be like, fuck, that energy's just fucking powerful.
Yeah, there's something to just, we have the homies Sweat a little bit. Their whole thing is just empty the tank. They're kind of working out in North Carolina, the Outer Banks, and in Charlotte, and they're really just trying to get people that wouldn't really relate to health stuff through that of just come out, just empty the tank, you'll feel better. It just speaks to the presence that you get from that experience,
Yeah.
Shout out Tyler, shout out Jordan.
What are those guys doing?
Sweat a little bit. So they're kind of running these like health retreats. They're kind of working with the local community in the Outer Banks and then elaborating out on that. Jordan is a PT, he's a doctor of physical therapy, and he's just a fucking wizard with the body. I mean, he's just an absolute phenom. He'll be on the podcast soon. And we were just out in the Outer Banks filming this woman's 100-mile marathon. She's running 100 100s. She ran 3 back to back to back, and she's on 90 right now to kind of honor her son who killed himself. He was a veteran, and doctors kind of fucked him up, essentially. He was given some drugs, and it triggered a psychosis event in him, and she was not a runner like that at all, and she's just this woman on a mission, dude. Like, we ended up crewing her for about 30 hours through the night in the Outer Banks, running 100 miles down this, half-mile wide strip of land in the middle of the ocean, and it was just amazing to really witness her actually, seeing people and could talk to people at 3 o'clock in the morning. How you doing, man? We're manning one of the aid stations. How you doing? Fucking terrible. And she's just beaming the whole time, singing, dancing, like the whole night.
Older lady, or not old,
I
but
think
like
51, 8 kids,
Wow.
like not who you think would be doing this. And she's just a testament to, I mean, the piece that she found was, I mean, her son, she found him, and the only thing that helped her was exhausting herself physically. She felt like she could relate to him and relate to what it felt like to give up, but then decided to continue on for him. And really beautiful story. She's an amazing woman. Shout out Rosie Gagnon, and shout out to Sweat a little bit, guys, out in North Carolina. We're trying to like build a little health mastermind out in the North Carolina region. I was on the West Coast for a while, but I realized I wanted to like return home and kind of bring the stuff that I'd been doing out there, bring it back over there and start to spread it to the people who might not be as savvy to that stuff, and try to find a way to bridge the people that kind of fall through the cracks. And same way I was kind of talking about you, like you can, you reached me in a way that I didn't really relate to a lot of other health kind of advocates out there. And I think that that's really what I'm passionate about doing with this show and with this platform that we're building, is making it more relatable for people so they can actually fucking do something.
Yeah. Well, yes. And I'd always like to bring up that, people are pretty doped up on, the Huberman podcast and Peter Attia and all the smarty pants people that are on Joe Rogan. And big shout out to them. I think they're doing a great job. But if that's not moving the needle forward and people are just mentally masturbating on more data and data and data,
That is the thing.
And it's like, and then they're trapped, or they're in a neurotic loop of what about this and what about that, as opposed to just trying a walking practice. And that's why I made a video on walking is the best exercise, and people are like, bullshit.
Yeah.
A lot of people agreed, but they're like, oh, we need so much more. And I'm like, okay, well, you can start, or everybody else can start there.
Yeah.
Lane Norton making a video, like going back at it, yelling. Yeah. I could see it. But yeah, it really is just the simple stuff, man. And I really appreciate you and what you do bring to the table. And I think it's so cool to talk to somebody who's, at the level that you're at. And it's cool to just be able to meet on the basics and the fundamentals. I think that's really what's missing, and that's what people need. And not only they need it, they have it. It's accessible to them right fucking now.
That's right. Sleep is free, baby.
Yeah, it's free, and so is fucking walking. Go walk.
Sunlight and grounding.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Fasting's
Absolutely.
the freest thing you could do.
Oh my God. It's so
Super
free.
free.
I'm on day 5, man. I feel great.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, your energy's high, dude. You're beaming. Yeah. Good shit. Well, brother, please tell us what you're up to. What are you up to with your team right now? What's the health nut world looking like? What are you pushing forward? What's your mission right now?
Well, my mission is to save planet Earth, plain and simple.
Let's go.
And so my business model is to do enough business so I can make as much free content to touch as many people as I possibly can. And so we just got a new YouTube producer. Shout out to Aaron out in Utah. And I just work with my social media team to crank out as much valuable content, enough content to turn people on. That's what I want to do. Turn them on, get them to start thinking outside of the box a little bit, outside of the metabolically dysfunctional box. And so I have my online community, Knowledge of Self University. We priced it very low so people can get in, and it's an amazing community, and people are sharing their ideas and how they're healing. And I have my legacy method, which is my advanced students, and I love it over there. I've got a DJ that just lost 60 pounds. He lost 12 pounds watching a video I made on gluten. He eliminated gluten and he lost 12 pounds. Then he joined my legacy method program. He's a DJ in Berlin, and he travels extensively, and he was just working himself into the ground, back pain, neck pain, and he lost 60 pounds total, I believe, and he's just got a new life, a new lease on life, and he goes out and he wants his health for DJing and stuff, but then he's also starting to see, well, what else do I want in life? And this is what I like, is true transformation from the ground up. And so, and then I've been on YouTube for 2 decades now. So I started High Vibe Hustlers, which is personal branding and authentic marketing. So I've got contention with a lot of the bullshit that we see all over the internet, and a lot of these marketers on steroids and people in fitness, and they're not telling you about their secret supplement that they're injecting into themselves for their fitness. And so, High Vibe Hustlers is on school. We're doing personal branding and authentic marketing. And it's a great community mastermind for business. And so, which is great because I'm creating an army of wellness warriors. And so to take over the world and to elevate human consciousness as we change this world. And my mission is to raise human consciousness and change all systems. And that means all systems. So the Federal Reserve gets to go, the big ag, big pharma, all that stuff.
Dude.
Everything needs to go, including media. And then my vision is clean air, water, soil, and equitable systems for all mankind in my lifetime. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Let's fucking go. Let's go.
I love it.
Where can the people find you?
CertifiedHealthNut.com, Certified Health Nut, all over the internet.
Back on YouTube.
I'm back on YouTube. We
back,
did
baby.
get shut down for a month and a half, and my whole
that's a minute.
my whole channel has been completely restored, and censorship is real. So we're doing the Jedi Ninja Jedi wizard dance, man, on social media, trying to stay off it. Make sure your editors go through this, and you clip the especially the words and stuff like that, because
Bleep it all out.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
censorship is real. Mockingbird media is real. And
Yeah.
so this is a great time of awakening. I just got the news flash. I think this last eclipse we went through on March 29th was the end of the Kali Yuga, and so we're entered into the golden age. And look, the Mayan calendar, the Vedic scriptures, or even Donald Trump said we're moving into the golden age. I think the golden age is here, baby. We're here.
go.
This is it. We've got to break some eggs to make a souffle, but humanity makes it.
Let's go. Dude, thank you, man.
Thanks for having me
Appreciate
on.
you, brother.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
It's been a
Awesome.
pleasure.
Sir.
That's it.